So this is my channel about my Audi S5 from 2007, which you can see here. But it didn't start with this. It actually started when a friend of mine took me for a ride in his blue RS4 Avant B7 with the 4.2 litre V8. Now, I've always liked Audis, and the experience of just being a passenger in the RS4 was dramatic enough. This is not his. This is just one from the internet that I found just to show. Now, my friend had the black edition with black alloys, black grille, black wing mirrors. His was also decatted, so it was very loud. Now, as he rode through the gears as I was sitting in the passenger, I was rocking backwards and forwards with the torque, and I've never forgot that experience. Plus, of all the noise, it just made up for a really dramatic experience, and I realised I just had to have one of these cars. Now, I didn't have the need for the Avant, but I did like the look of the saloon instead. Now, that was my target, one in sprint blue, as late a model as possible, preferably with black leather interior. Just like the one you see here, but this is also one from the internet I found just to show. But I didn't realise that that was a pipe dream, was never really going to happen. Now, RS4s are hard to come by anyway. So RS4s are hard to come by in the United Arab Emirates and then some, and let alone in good condition or specifically in my criteria. Now, buying an old car in Dubai is one thing, but most would never go for a near old German car as they don't fare so well with the heat. The resale is literally next to nothing, and the parts are really expensive, and only certain mechanics can work on them. Now, after a few years, I gave up on that and thought this will have to be a purchase for later when I return to the UK, where no doubt they'll be even harder to find and more expensive, and most of them will have mileage looking like they've been to the moon and back. Then a friend of mine put his silver S5 up for sale. Now, this is my actual car that you can see now in these pictures getting jet washed. Now, those of you that know the car will already spot that I've removed the original grille and put on the later styled RS grille, which freshens up the front quite a lot. But apart from that, and touching up of the front bumper, which I'll go into later, this is exactly how the car came to me. Now, I knew my friend had this S5, but completely forgot about it. And it was quite rare in the fact that it had a manual gearbox, so I was already very interested. It also features the 4.2 litre V8, but it's in its earliest edition, so it doesn't redline at 8,000. It redlines normally like most engines at 7. It's got about, 80, 90 horsepower less, and in general, it's just a little bit more grown up, not as noisy, and also it sits much lower to the road. It has a nicer stance to it. Now, after having the S5 for some time, I also realised that the RS4 is starting to look dated, although I will still get one the first chance I get. And the A5 actually survived a very, very long time with actually only 2 or 3 minor facelift tweaks for the front bumper and the rear. Now, that's quite unusual for a car to last from early 2000 all the way up to 2016 before the new model is brought in. So from that perspective, I think it's a much nicer looking car, and it's aged a lot better. Now, the S5 had all of the driving flavour from the RS4 that I wanted, although it was just dialed down a bit. It was quieter and not so aggressive on the power. Now, I was sharing videos and talking to several people about the challenges that came along with ownership of this car, and decided to start putting videos up of all the little and large issues that come and are still going to come my way. Now, I ended up sending clips to people all over the world, and it just makes more sense to do it once and put it up to share. I'm doing this all on my phone, as I'm by no means a professional videographer or YouTuber, so the quality is going to vary. All in all, these are great cars for the enthusiast driver and can be maintained at a reasonable cost. So here are all my experiences, and I hope it helps out other people who have a similar car, or those thinking about buying an Audi manual gearbox S5, or even an automatic for that matter.